to experience something glorious. Unacademy Combat. Compete, crack, conquer.
A challenging gate contest engineered to give you an experience like none other.
where you put your knowledge to test.
and battle it out with a test.
To bring out the best in you, Unacademy Combat is the most competitive, gamified contest for gate till date, with the best of the questions by best educators.
With detailed video solutions from top educators right after each contest.
Combat live with peers to get real-time rankings and win big.
Participate in every contest to improve your ratings.
Challenging contests every fortnight or alternate Sunday. Live ranking after every question. Big rewards for top rankers. Your passion to crack gate deserves this. Your hard work towards your dream deserves this. Fuel your inner fire for the ultimate gate challenge. Unacademy Combat. Register now.
Hello everybody, welcome to Unacademy. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to discuss about our semiconductor memories. In this, according to your GATE syllabus, whatever the required part we'll be discussing. This very important topic regarding EC and EC students for GATE and ESC is where questions are coming regularly from this topic. Okay, so maybe it's of 1 hour duration maximum. We'll be finishing off this particular topic. So before going to that, so on this Sunday, that is on 26th September, you have Unacademy Combat exam. This Combat exam will be having so many features, guys. So it is India's largest competitive exam for GATE, where all your fellow competitors throughout the country will be participating. You will be getting the live leaderboard. You can assess yourself where you are doing perfectly, where you are going wrong. All those things you can analyze it. And you will be getting what we call 60 minutes time and 20 questions. The questions are made by top educators so that you will get the video solutions also to know your mistakes. And more importantly, you will be getting a chance to win the scholarship up to 100% on your subscription. So here what you need to do is you just download the app and go for the Combat exam, register. It asks the code, use the code Shankar10. It is completely free for you. Okay. So top 3 पे आएंगे तो completely free, top 10 75%, top 50 50%, and top 100 if you are able to manage in your own stream. If you are in the top 100, you get 25% discount. Okay, so let's continue our discussion of the logic families and the semiconductor memories, which we are discussing from the last 2 days. So yesterday I am done with CMOS. I have done good number of questions from the CMOS also. All these questions we are done. Right, all these questions we are done yesterday. Right, now let's start the next topic. Semiconductor memories. Okay. Yeah, if you go for memories, so the memories can be generally computer ka memory you can classify into primary and secondary. Okay, in the primary memory you will be having ROM, that is for read and write, and RAM. So this is only read only memory, read and write. In RAM you have again SRAM, DRAM. In the ROM you have double EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read only memory, and UV EEPROM. Okay, so these are the things you have, and there is another thing called MROM, maskable, okay, read only memory. So these are the things. So here in the maskable ROM, okay, manufacturer will load the data. एक ही बार data load possible, that is loaded by manufacturer. You cannot write it here. And here the data can be erasable, programmable, whether electrically or with the help of ultraviolet rays. If nothing is specified in the EEPROM, we assume it is ultraviolet. Okay. So then there are the next one, RAM. RAM is used for read and write. Okay. It is a non-volatile memory. We'll discuss those things. So this contains SRAM and DRAM. Okay, static and dynamic. We will be discussing that in our syllabus. Secondary is not the part of our syllabus, but generally what happens is in the secondary you have, in the primary whatever we discuss this part, all these are random access. Okay, ये सभी, whether RAM is random access memory, ROM is also random access originally. Okay, so but it is read only, this is read and write. So these two are, that is both RAM and ROM are random access. But the secondary one is, here we have the types, semi-random and also sequential. In the semi-random you have your CD, DVD and your floppy, all these comes under semi, even your hard disk also. Okay, all disks comes under semi-random. Means you cannot, what is the random and semi-random, sir? Random means you can go to that particular memory location directly, but in the semi-random you can almost go like that, but not, means access speed is faster here. But in the semi-random you may not, you may be able to go, but not as fast as your random. It is divided into rows and columns or circles, concentric circles, you should go. Okay, fine. This is a semi-random, and there is a called sequential. Means you cannot go to any location of your wish here, you should go in a sequence. Like magnetic tapes, if you see, That is the best example. Still we can use because it is cheaper in higher data requirements like weather forecasting, etc. Magnetic drums, charge coupled devices like capacitors, etc. We will use the sequential memory. There are sometimes there is a term called destructive readout. Once you read, the data will be lost. Sequential memory pay, you can see this is one of the best example. In earlier days, if you see little old these things, these are all examples of sequential memory. You cannot go to any song all of a sudden. You should go to that particular location. You should rotate it or fast forward it, then only you can move to the particular song. Okay, but then your MP3 etc. came into picture where you can go to your required song by just pressing the number. Okay, so this is the example of sequential memory access, right? So this is your PROM. Here what happens is we will be sending the UV rays. There will be some duct here, with through that you will be sending the data. Okay, so before going further, this is a little theoretical concept, guys. Okay, firstly let's discuss the basic differences between RAM and ROM. Okay, all those things, what are the different memories we are having, then we will move further. Okay, so now let me draw one important thing called memory pyramid. Yeah. Okay, so this is what we call memory pyramid. In that okay, so if you see, the faster memory among all is the process registers. That is the registers inside the CPU, like accumulator, B register, A register, whatever you see the registers in the computer, those are called as what we call the faster one. Okay, the next one is your RAM, that is cache memory. For example, best one is your SRAM. Okay, then we call the main memory. When you purchase any processor or computer, you will ask what is the RAM size. That is nothing but your DRAM. Okay, SRAM is little costlier. We are not going through those things which we study in your computer organization. Okay, that is about the next one. Then these are your RAM or random accesses. Now we will move for the semi-random access. Okay, ROM is also one of the random access. Then your CD, DVD, hard disk, these are examples of semi-random. Your floppy, all those things. Okay, so then you will get the last one, sequential access. Okay, that is your magnetic tape, etc. So if you come with respect to speed, if you speak with respect to speed, then this is with respect to speed I am speaking. Similarly, with respect to cost, these are the things. So you can see this is fastest to slowest. Fastest means less access time. Then here less access time, you require more. So this is the cheaper, you can say cheapest to costliest. Okay, and this figure is what we call the memory pyramid. Okay, this is just a comparison of what is your memory with respect to who is faster, who is cheaper, who is costlier. There is one objective question in one of the GATE paper based on this pyramid also. Okay, so please understand carefully. So that is about your memory pyramid. Let's move further. So if you discuss about ROM means it's a read-only memory. Why read-only memory is required, sir? There are some cases, like you can see best example, your video games where you have that bootstrap program will be having it. This is a fixed set of program which will rotate, repeat continuously. There, the manufacturer will fix the data and will give you. Or sometimes you need to load the OS BIOS, that is the basic input output to your system whenever the startup point. Okay, those things you need to store in a permanent memory which should not be changed by the user program continuously. So those things ke liye we need a permanent memory that is called as read-only memory. ROM is generally what we use for permanent memory. Sometimes the manufacturer will fix the data, you cannot change it. Isko different types hota hai. Maskable ROM, or where you can data can be stored only one time by the manufacturer. Okay, masked ROM kahte. Then PROM, programmable ROM. In the PROM we have two types: erasable programmable read-only memory and electrically erasable and ultraviolet erasable. Okay, so in the EPROM, electrically erasable, UV PROM. If examiner specifies nothing, if he says EPROM, in general we assume it as UV PROM. Okay, so this is electrically erasable and UV programmable read-only memory. Okay, so what are the basic differences between firstly the ROM and that is this EPROM and UV PROM. Okay, I think I have given this data. Yeah, see here the data is in the EPROM, electrically erasable. Data is erased with the help of electrical signals. In UV EPROM, the data is erased with the help of ultraviolet signals. You can see that this kind of setup. Okay, then here by sending the electrical signals, yeah. Just a moment. Yeah, see here guys, this is your EEPROM. EEPROM means UV ultraviolet erasable programmable read-only memory. Here data is erased by sending ultraviolet rays. Here total data will be erased. You cannot erase a partial data. It requires generally few minutes of data, and to program this you should remove the chip from the system and do it. But here that is erasable programmable may electrically erasable. Data is erased by sending electrical signals. And here partial data can be erased. It requires maybe it is 10 to 15 minutes, it is in the seconds. Okay, less time is required. Here in system programming not possible, here it is possible. Means you need to remove the chip to write the data. Here you don't need. This is EEPROM and this is EEPROM. EEPROM is nothing but UVPROM. Okay, right. So that is about your EEPROM and EEPROM. Okay, so now let's discuss a little about your ROM and RAM. Then we will move for what we call SRAM and DRAM working. Now let me give you some, just a moment, yeah, RAM versus ROM, some basic differences. Okay, here it is random access, this is also random access. Here read and write memory, this is read only. That is the programmer will write. You can erase by using your extra erasable programmable ROMs, that is a different case. Okay, without writing you cannot read anyway. Okay, the manufacturer will write it and you will be reading it. Okay, then now the next one, it is a volatile memory. What is the meaning of volatile, sir? If power is gone, data is lost. Suppose when you are writing something, suddenly power gaya, you cannot retrieve that data. That is volatile memory which is stored in the RAM. Okay, once you save it, it is non-volatile. Once even power gone, it will retain your data. Okay, so here it is used to store temporary data. Okay, to store permanent data like system programs, operating systems, etc. It is here like user programs or whatever maybe, we might be using this. Okay, so this is about your basic difference between RAM and ROM. We have discussed some basics of the ROM. Now we will move for the RAM. Okay, in the RAM we are going to discuss the first one. In the RAM, I told you, you have DRAM and also SRAM. Okay. Okay, in the DRAM, let's go. Okay. So here first the basic difference between DRAM and SRAM, let me explain before giving all the figures and all. DRAM you will be storing the data, SRAM also use it to store the data. In the DRAM, we store the data with the help of charging and discharging the capacitor. When the capacitor is charged, we may treat it as logic 1. When the capacitor is discharged, we may treat it as 0. So that is what we call your dynamic RAM. But there is another case called static RAM, where you will be storing the data like a flip-flop. By connecting two inverters back to back, we will be storing the data. So we'll see both of the cases. So let's discuss the DRAM and SRAM. So D for dynamic, S for static. So let's start with the DRAM. See, I already gave you the concept of pass transistor. Okay, this is your control signal. Okay, so this is the input which will charge the capacitor. अगर input 1 है तो it will be charging the capacitor, 0 है तो it will be discharging the capacitor. But instead of capacitor we take another transistor which is having input capacitance to do this job. See, when control is 0, it will not, if this is off, it will not allow to what we call charge or discharge. But when control is 1, it is having some capacitance. This capacitance will be, this instead of capacitor, we use the transistor only to use this. So generally you require 2 transistors in a 1 SRAM cell. If you want to store data 1, you charge it. If you want to store 0, you discharge it with the help of control signal to control, like chip selector, to select your ROM. Okay, so when it is 0, you cannot select it. When it is 1, you can write or read the data. I mean, you can write the data or change the data values. Okay, but here the disadvantage is, because it is a capacitance, there is always some leakage in the capacitance. So even you charge it over a period of time, there is a chance it will discharge and go to 0. So to avoid this, we will do it periodically refreshing. कहते हैं थोड़ा सा periodically charge देना चाहिए इसको. Okay, to retain the values. It may be requiring less transistors, but because you have input capacitance relative to SRAM, it is slower in operation. Okay, we will discuss SRAM where the data is stored like a 2 flip-flops connected back to back. This is your DRAM. So in SRAM, how you will be storing the data? By connecting 2 flip-flops, sorry, 2 inverters back to back. So let's go for the SRAM operation. See here, this is an example. 2 inverters connected back to back. These are the pass transistors to access the data, to write the data or read the data. The control is with the help of this line. Okay, and this bit line, word line, you can say write logic. So these transistors will act like what we call pass transistors to this circuit. 2 flip-flops connected back to back. Two inverters connected back to back like a flip-flop circuitry. Now I just replace this inverter with the inverters which we have discussed in the NMOS technology. Okay, then you get this circuit. Okay, this is your word line, bit line. Okay, and here I just replace this inverter with inverter equivalent. We know this is called inverter, na? So output of one inverter connected to the input, output of another inverter connected to the input. So now you can replace these resistors also with the help of your transistors. Then you will get this one. That is nothing but your CMOS circuit. Okay, so it is called 60 SRAM because it is having 6 transistors. So you can see the basic from where we came here, and you can see 2 inverters connected back to back here. Now what happens, you see those inverters are like this. Okay, now इसके बाद मैंने क्या किया, वो इन्वर्टर को replace किया with the MOS transistor. Then I came for the CMOS. Now let me explain the working of this particular. Okay, so working of let me start the explanation. So how to read and how to write. You already have some knowledge from the basic figures I have given, but let me give you little clarity. So let me explain here the read operation and the write operation. first we start with the read operation. Of SRAM. Okay, so let me explain here. You have, okay, assume Q equal to 0, Q bar equal to 1. We want to read. You want to read this data. Okay, then what are the steps involved? The first step, say already Q has 0, you know. Okay, you know means we know it, but from the circuit point of view, how to read that Q equal to 0, Q bar equal to 1, or Q equal to 1, Q bar equal to 0 condition, how to read it? Already some data is there. How to read that data? Let us see. Now, to achieve this, the first point is make WL is equal to 1, accessing to read, and BL equal to BL bar is equal to 1. This is called pre-charging. Okay, let me do that. Okay, you have Q equal to 0, Q bar equal to 1. I am pre-charging this BL equal to 1 and BL bar equal to 1. Okay, so because here this is also 1, this is also 1, there will not be any discharge here. Yes or no? But here you observe, you have a 0. You have a 1, already you made WL equal to 1, then this transistor will be on. Yes or no? And here, so what happens is this will be on and you got the path to discharge this charged capacitor. You have a capacitor which is charged here, but here you have a chance because of Q0, you got a what we call this one will be what we call discharging. This capacitor will be discharging like this. You have some capacitor value, you provided 0, this will be discharging like this. Okay, while discharging you must take care like that. Okay, this discharged voltage jo hota hai na, this should not increase this 0. Means when you are reading, you should take care such that your output will not be disturbed. Your output should not be disturbed. Output should remain the same, but you should read. How? Because once it discharges, this becomes 0. It will tell that, "Arey bhai, yahi pe 0 hai." Okay. So when you have two pre-charges, what happens? One is discharging, one is not discharging. That will say that here you have 0. Suppose if you have here 1, here 0, then this will discharge and say that Q bar is 0. You have some sensing amplifier at the end that will take care of that. Okay, based on the difference between the two, BL and BL bar, it will sense it as either if you get here discharged, here charged, here 0 1 aayenge to 0 or 1 0 aayenge to it will treat it as 1. That is done with the help of some sensing amplifier at the output. So here one important thing you should take care is while this discharging, this part should not be increasing its voltage. Okay. So let me write that points. While BL is discharging, it should not raise or disturb Q. Okay, so you can see here, this is the on resistance of the transistor. What is the value of the transistor? Rn2. And this is the on resistance of the transistor 1. So we always required here, your output is taken here. This is where you are taking the Q. Your output should remain at low while this is discharging like this. So you have a charged capacitor like this here. Some VC is there that is discharging in this path. when it is discharging, this voltage should not be disturbed, means here you required Rn2 must be more compared to Rn1. If this volt resistance is more voltage will come here, less will come here, that will not disturb your value. That is, you can say Qn1 must be, we call, stronger than Qn2. That will give you Rn2 greater than Rn1. Q is a transistor, okay, or R is inversely proportional to aspect ratio. That is the aspect ratio of the, what we call, this transistor should be more compared to this one. That's why this is stronger than this is generally required. In the same way, when suppose if it is 0, na, this will discharge, na, this should be having. So similarly we can say Rn, okay, this should be more than this. Okay, this is how what happens. Okay, so what happens is, if, okay, BL discharge and BL bar remains same, okay, the sense amplifier, read it as, okay, Q equal to 0, Q bar equal to 1, and vice versa. This is how your read operation takes place. Let me revise it. I am assuming already I am having here 0, 1 here. Okay, my output is in this particular condition. Now I want to read that data. How to read that data in the SRAM is make BL equal to 1, BL bar also equal to 1 initially. Then what happens is, because of 0 here, this will be discharging. Because of 1 and 1 here, it will be neither discharging nor charging. It will remain same. Okay. Because of this discharging, okay, it will become 0 and it will remain same. That combination will tell you that Q is 0, Q bar is 1. Okay, right. So that is how you will be doing the read operation with the help of your SRAM. Similarly, let us see how to do the write operation. Okay. But you should take care that this process should not increase its voltage value, or it should not, value should not be disturbed. That's why your this part should be having less resistance on off than that one, or its aspect ratio should be more compared to this. Rn1 must be stronger than Rn2. Okay. Now let me explain the write operation. Just a moment. I'm sorry, just give me one moment. Just a moment, guys. Okay. Now, let's discuss the write operation. Okay. So let's continue with the write operation. That is, you want to write something. Okay. So let's see. Initially, q equal to 0, q bar is equal to 1. Okay, we want to write q equal to 1 and q bar equal to 0. Okay, so let's see what is the process. Okay. So initially, what is the condition? What is the assumption? Q equal to 0, Q bar equal to 1 is the initial condition. When this is 0, okay, this will be on and this will be off. Initial condition I am saying, and this will be, this is 0 na, on, because this is 1 given here, this will be off. Okay, fine. This is the initial condition. Now I want to write some new data. Then what to do is first make WL is equal to 1 and make BL equal to 1, BL bar equal to 0. Whatever the data you want to write, you keep that. If you want to write 0, 1, you keep 0, 1. If you want to write 1, 0, you should keep 1, 0 there. So once you keep the data here, then what to do? See here. Then this 1 will come here. Okay. And this 0 will come here. So this will be discharging. Okay, because this is on and here you have provided the ground path, this will be discharging. So once it is discharged, what happens? And this obviously what happens is charging. Okay, then once it discharges, this will change from 1 to 0. When this is 0, okay, then this PMOS will be on, this NMOS will be off, because you gave 0 here. And then when it is off, okay, and this is on, this VDD will come into picture. Or you can analyze from here also, it is your convenience. Then this one will come here, one will off the PMOS and on the NMOS. This is how it will change the condition. Okay. So first what happens when I give BL equal to 1, BL bar equal to 0, you analyze from any point. Here I am analyzing. This one will discharge. Once it discharges, it becomes 0. That 0 comes here, PMOS will be on, NMOS will be off. When PMOS is on, you get 1 here. That 1 will be offing this PMOS and on the NMOS. So that will change that has changed the condition. From initially it is 0, now it has become 1. Initially 1, now it has become 0. That is how you will be doing the write operation. But similar to earlier case, what I told is this is having more resistance than this. Now, same way here P2 on resistance should be more than N4 on resistance. Okay, that is the condition required. Here RP2 should be greater than RN4 and RP1 should be greater than RN2. Okay, so these are the conditions required here. So here you have two now. One should be 1 minute please. Yeah, no issue. So what is the final conclusion? RP1 should be greater than RN2 greater than RN. Similarly, RP2 greater than RN4 greater than RN3. These are the conditions required in the design. Okay, on resistance of the transistors. Okay, so that is about your 60 SRAM read and write operations. So how to write the data and how to read the data from it. Okay, so these are the next things, that is what we call the basic differences between your SRAM and DRAM. So SRAM is data is stored like a flip-flop. Here data is stored by charging and discharging the capacitor. Both are volatile memories, both are random access. But here in the SRAM you require approximately for each cell, each bit of data you require 4 to 6 transistors. In the DRAM you require 2 transistors. So less number of transistors means high packaging density, means the number of transistors you required, okay, or the number of SRAM cells or DRAM cells you can make in a available area is more for DRAM because it requires less transistors. In the given area you can get more DRAMs compared to SRAM. Okay, here more transistor required compared to DRAM, but it is the fastest and costlier. It is relatively slower, but not what we call as fast. I mean, it is faster only, but not as fast as SRAM. It is comparatively cheap. Okay, and it is used in the SRAM is used in the cache memory, DRAM is used in the main memory. Okay, so SRAM periodical refreshing is not required. In the DRAM, it is required. Here the power consumption is more in the SRAM. Here the power consumption is less. Okay, these are the basic points. Most of the times questions came from this. Okay, similarly SRAM requires more power consumption because of more transistors. Okay. You can see in the SRAM internal structure. Just a moment. Yeah, okay, try this question, guys. This is given in one of the paper. See which of the following is a valid SRAM. Read this question. So W line and bit line of SRAM shown. Okay. So which of the following is the SRAM is given by the examiner? You can see here we should have 2 inverters connected back to back. All looks the same, but they are not correct. This is wrong because here 2 inverters connected like this. It is not output of one is connected back to another. Here both are PMOS. Wrong. Here both are NMOS. This is correct because output of inverter connected here. Right, output of one is connected to the input of another. Yes, this is the right answer. So this is given one of the gate paper. So what is this circuit? You just give AB equal to 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 and cross check it. You will be getting the answer. Okay. So that will finish your analysis, what we call of SRAM, DRAM or semiconductor memories topic. Now, So don't think here because we are discussing SRAM, it is your SRAM is the answer. Okay, give a try here. Okay, maybe XOR or XNOR can be your answer. Okay, be careful. Try, give a try and check. AB equal to all zeros to all ones, you give a try. It need not be SRAM. Okay, be careful. Okay, so that is about your static and semiconductor memories topic. Okay, so these are the batches currently running on Unacademy Plus, guys, from September 15th. So this is for both EC and W students in both Hindi and English. We are having the batches, and networks and controls are going on right now. So if you want to take the subscription, hurry up, guys, before the price increases. If you are having a plan, that is today or tomorrow, whenever you take the subscription, use the code Shankar10. If you like my teaching, if you are connected with me, you can use my code. And yes, why to delay it? If you have a plan, even you are in the second year, third year, now itself, don't to pay extra later. Okay, take the subscription. Tomorrow maybe 1 year, maybe more compared to this. All these prices you get 10% extra discount by using the code Shankar10. If you go for Iconic, these are the prices. Here also you will be getting the 10% discount. Suppose it is 74,000, you get 7,400 discount using this code. Okay, this is valid for any course in Unacademy. So this is an Ask a Doubt feature which is useful to ask any number of doubts which are completely free for you, where you get high quality video solutions in both the languages of English and Hindi. Okay, just download the app, type Ask a Doubt, attach your pic, send it. That will finish. You will be getting your solution. Okay? Thank you very much, guys. We'll meet again in the next class. Thank you. Bye-bye.